And welcome, everybody, and welcome aboard. It's time for Hawk Talk. Right here from the Indiana Elks, the lodge located on South 13th Street here in Indiana. Jack Benedict here, along with Coach Paul Tortorella. We talk IUP football for the next hour. We have a guest coming up. One of the players will join us at the 6:30 mark. Good to have you with us. The folks are starting to come in here, and once again, we remind you, when you come over to the Elks, you can have dinner here, and also you don't have to be a member to come over and see our show here between 6 and 7. We're here every Monday night from 6 to 7 o'clock. All right, Coach, let's go back to Saturday and the wild and crazy game against Slippery Rock, 33-32, the final count, and just one of those classic games in the long history of IUP and Slippery Rock. And I was told there were almost like 8,000 fans there from people who know more than what we saw. It was quite an experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great crowd, great atmosphere. Ended up being a heck of a game. We didn't get the memo until 3 o'clock because we didn't really show up until 3 o'clock. The first hour, we didn't do much. We, fell behind 21-0. With 5 minutes to go in the second quarter, and then we responded in the next 20 minutes. Dot score, Slippery Rock 26-0. So that's kind of a crazy way to look at it. I've been involved in a lot of games. I'm not really sure I've been involved in anything like that. And then it came down to a one-score game, and down at the end, and a couple things didn't go our way, and that's how you lose a close game at the end, which is tough, but hopefully we learn from it. You really do learn more from losses than you do from wins. The first thing we have to learn is we can't come out for the first 20 minutes and not show up in the game. But, I mean, it's 21-0, and they have the ball. And if we weren't a good football team, we could have been in trouble. They had all the momentum. Things weren't going our way, but we got the momentum back at the end of the half by scoring the last 10 points. We ran out of time in the first half. We probably would have scored a touchdown there, but we just didn't have enough time at the end of the half, so we took the points and kicked the field goal. And we kind of ran out of time at the end of the game too, but there's things we didn't do well enough to win. You can't spot anybody a 21-0 lead. And when you do that to a good team, you've got to work really hard to get back in the game. We not only got back in the game and got the lead. And I said this to the team today. It may be, in all my years here, the best 25-minute stretch in a game we've ever had at IUP since I've been the coach.
That's saying something.
We've had stretches like that in games that were blowout games.
Sure.
But to outscore them in 20 minutes, 26-0, we haven't done that around here since I've been here. So it reminded me of, you'll remember, a long time ago we played Catawba at night here, and we were losing 21-3, I think, at halftime, and we came back and won like 31-30. But it didn't end the way we wanted to end, like that one did.
Yeah, that was a while ago. I was going to ask you, is it, as a coach, is it difficult to judge how your team is going to play during the pregame warm-ups? How can you get any read one way or another?
No. If it was up to me, I'd stay in my office until we go out for the game.
Because
pregame warm-up, I've been out there and saw teams and like, wow, are we ready to play? And we lay an A. And I've been out there other times where I'm like, we're flat, we're not ready to play, and we play great at the beginning. I got a story back when I was coaching at Akron for Jerry Foss. We were playing out at Ball State, and our pregame warm-up may have been the worst pregame warm-up in the history of football, to the point where he almost threatened to get on the bus and go home. We went out and beat him by 3 touchdowns. So, it's been that way here, too, at times. I thought we were really ready to play. We had a great week of practice. I commented Friday to the team, we're ready. And we came out and we got the sack fumble. Then they had a short, they're scoring 21 points, and they had a big play on the short pass, and we didn't make the tackle. But they had a 41-yard drive and a 26-yard drive after the punt return. So, at halftime, I told Smitty, they only got 180 yards. And that seems like a lot, but when you got 21 points, you should have more than 180 yards.
Right.
So they have two short fields and they hit a big play, we're going to be all right. Well, we six series in a row. We had 3 3-and-outs, a 5 play and out, and a fumble and an interception. So after the first, part of the game where it was 21-0, our defense went out 6 series in a row and helped us score 10 points with turnovers, and we had 3 3-and-outs and a 5-and-out where they punted. So it was like night and day. The first 3 of the first 4 series were strikeouts, and then 6 series in a row, we hit home runs on defense. And then it went the same way with offense. Like that same way offense, our first 4 or 5 series were not very good. We turned it over. Then we scored our last 2 series of the first half. We didn't score the first series of the second half, but we scored every time after that when we had the ball. So it was one of those momentum games that flipped, and when they flipped like it was hard to get the momentum back and so forth for both teams.
Yeah, what you have. Is there anything where you can pinpoint why at times the team has started slowly?
No, I mean, this year it's not been an issue. I know everybody talks about it, but I think we were outscoring our opponents 63-7 in the first quarter this year going into the Slippery Rock game. Okay. And they were like the same way. We knew they had the same type of first quarters in their first 4 games. So we made a big deal by, they're a good first quarter team. We've been playing good in the first quarter. We got to come out and play well in the first quarter. Well, we didn't play very well in the first quarter and a half, and they had something to do with that. It wasn't like we were just out there by ourselves. I mean, they made some plays, got the ball in their fast guys' hands in space. We gave the blitz away, didn't make the tackle in the open field, got a punt return on us. So, when you're on short fields and you get a big play, a 2-play drive with the long touchdown, that's how you score 21 points.
Yeah. We've got a question here that came about, and I'm going to fast forward here from all the middle stuff and get to the end here, where when Slippery Rock went ahead 33-32 and penalized, and they've got a kick to you from the 10-yard line. So it's been brought up, what happens if that ball goes out of bounds? Oh. What's the situation? Right. And what is the rule? Mm-hmm. You want to explain if it would have gone out of bounds? You have 2 choices or what? Yeah.
There was 2 scenarios on that. If the ball goes out of bounds, okay, you get the ball on the plus 40. So we told him, if we knew they were kicking it that way. So we told Cy, if it's close to the sideline and you think it's going to go out of bounds, let it go. We'll get it on the plus 40 because they had 25 yards in penalty. So instead of getting it on your own 35 normally, you're going to get it on their plus 40.
Right.
So we talked about that. The second thing we talked about was doing a fair catch on it and just getting the ball. But I said, you know what? The way we've been running back kicks today, we had a great day running back kicks again with Clark. We got a chance to hit a big one and get in field goal range just off of the kick return. It was a good kick by the kid. He kicked it pretty good. It was downwind. He had the wind. And he kicked it pretty good. I mean, he kicked it probably 10 yards farther than we thought he would. Mm-hmm. But we still got it to the 45, the plus 45. If he doesn't kick it quite as far like we're talking about, we'd have had it on the plus 35. We felt like we had to, because it was into the wind a little bit, we felt like we had to get it to the 32 to try a 49-yarder we felt like would be a decent shot into the wind. But we kind of ran out of time. We thought about, we called timeout. We thought about trying to run another play and getting 5 to 10 more yards, but that doesn't do you any good if the clock runs out. It was only 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, it was like 4.3 or something.
Yeah, so if I had to do it all over again, I would probably not kicked it from where we kicked it and went with the jump ball in the end zone, to be honest with you. With Massey and Laney, we got some big guys, and throw it up. And
We got Riddle.
yeah, and maybe you get an interference call. Who knows? I mean, there was a phantom targeting call that really cost us on the last drive. That, like, people don't realize how much that hurt. They're going to get the ball on our 22-yard line. There's 16 seconds to go, and the clock's stopping because they have a first down, but it's going to restart. And they're going to kill it, and there'll be 13 seconds left with no timeouts on our 22. Instead, it stops the clock. They got 16 and a half seconds. They get a free timeout, and the guy was hurt. And if you're hurt in that situation, according to one official, it would have been a 10-second runoff. So they would only had 6 seconds to go from the 22-yard line.
Yeah.
So my thing was, well, if it's targeting and you go look at it and it's targeting, it's a good call. But if it's not targeting, what's the penalty? Like, still wondering what the penalty is. All he did was the guy wasn't down, and he went in there and tackled him. And it wasn't targeting. If it's targeting, it's a penalty. So just because it wasn't targeting, why is it a penalty? All he did was tackle the guy. The guy wasn't down.
Yeah, the nitty-gritty thing there is just unbelievable. The other thing, I'm a little surprised. Did you think maybe they might squib kick or power kick? Or not?
No, I thought that. No, because even when we took the lead, we talked about doing that, and you give them too good a field position. Like, if they squib kick it to one of our up guys and they run 15 yards, we're under plus 40. Because remember, they're kicking way back on their 10-yard
line. Yeah. The other thing is, I was a little surprised that they kicked it to Clark to begin with, because JD is back there, and I know he'd been in a boot most of the week.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they know that or not.
No, they probably don't, but that guy kicks, that's the way he kicks it. He gets more distance when he kicks to his left. And it was downwind.
Yeah.
And it was a great kick. He pinned it into the sideline, and if he would have just hooked it a little more, he would have kicked it out of bounds. We would have got the ball in the plus 40. But like I said, we also talked about fair catching it, but we would have got the ball on our own 38. I think he caught it on our own 40. And with 12 seconds, it's going to be hard to get in field goal range from there. You're going to get one play, maybe two. So we took the shot. We got a great return. And there's one block that's not made good enough. We'd have probably got 10 more yards. Now, it also would have taken 2 or 3 more seconds off the clock, too.
Right, yeah.
But, we might have had 10 more yards, and now a 53-yarder, 54-yarder is a makeable 44-yarder. Well,
the other thing is, too, and I think the fans who were there know, that with Slippery Rock kicking with the wind, as you mentioned,
right,
where Andrasi's got to kick against the wind.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a wind. Yeah, there was.
It was enough, I think.
Yeah. You got to really hit it great, whether it's into the wind or not with the wind to make a 54-yarder, but it's either that or try to Hail Mary from the 37. And, you got 2 chances with the Hail Mary. Obviously, you get the ricochet in the end zone, and it's a touchdown. And maybe they get called for interference.
Maybe a penalty.
Maybe, because they had like 5 PI calls all day. They were calling it on them because there was 3 they didn't call. There was one that was on the same. It was the next play. It was the same guy, and it was actually worse, and they didn't want to call it 2 plays in a row, I guess.
Well, all right, those are some of the things we talk about. We got a whole bunch of other things. I've got a lot of questions from the fans here, too. So stay with us. We're at Hawk Talk with Coach Paul Tortorella. We're talking about IUP Slippery Rock. Edinboro is next Saturday on the road. We'll get to all of that. Hawk Talk from the Elks Lodge on U92.5 and U92radio.com.
Since 1936, Walker Motor Company in downtown Katanning has served Western Pennsylvania with its no-pressure, no-hassle environment, bringing the kind of family-owned and oriented dealer experience that everyone wants when it comes time to purchase a new or used vehicle. Whether you are looking for a new GMC, pre-owned vehicle, service, or collision repair, come on over to Walker Motors and see why they've been voted #1 for 6 straight years. Visit them at walker-motor.com.
Looking for food, fun, and entertainment with a purpose? The Elks Lodge 931 in Indiana is more than a place. It's community. Become an Elk. Enjoy food, fun, bowling, music, events, and a banquet hall. Distinctly American, Elks are rooted in brotherly love, charity, fidelity, and justice. annually giving tens of thousands to local charities. We give back not at the Elks, as an Elk. See them at 475 South 13th Street and on Facebook today. Elks Lodge 931, where community and compassion meet.
Back, everybody, to Hawk Talk from the Elks Lodge here in Indiana on South 13th Street. Jack Benedict, Coach Paul Tortorella. We're talking about Slippery Rock IUP. Slippery Rock 33 to 32 over IUP. By the way, Crimson Hawks still in the top 25 at the number 25 spot, so they're hanging in there with half a season to go. Coach, a lot of the fans want to know, I'm sure you've had probably so many questions thrown your way in the last couple of days when we had a first and 10 at the 11-yard line. You had elected to go, did you think about running the football, going field goal, that sort of thing?
Yeah, we had it figured out that if we did what we're talking about, they would use all their timeouts, we would kick the field goal, and there would be like 47 seconds left with no timeouts. But they only need a field goal to beat you. So if they get a play down the field and they get it downwind, they get it to our 30, they can beat you like Gannon did on a field goal on the last play. So we said if we could score a touchdown, go ahead and score it. Let's go up by more than a field goal. I mean, look, and I'm a defensive guy. When you give the team the ball with a minute and 30 or whatever it was and one timeout on their own 25-yard line, you shouldn't give up a touchdown. So, but we were very seriously considering doing that, and we would have done it. The problem was when Carr scrambled for a first down to the 10-yard line, he ran out of bounds.
Yeah.
Not thinking that, you're in 2 minutes, you think you're in a quick mode. Well, now we were to the point where we were obviously playing against Slippery Rock, but the clock would have been in our favor. If he just runs down to the 15, say, and just goes and slides, they got to use a timeout or they got to let the clock run for 35 seconds. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, if we were fortunate enough where he didn't go out of bounds, we definitely would have done the deal with running, setting it up and kicking a field goal, because 47 seconds would have became 14 seconds because we didn't lose. The clock would have lost 35 seconds on it if he wouldn't have went out of bounds. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, they would have called a timeout. Yeah, but that would have had one less timeout to call one later. So the way the time was, we got a chart that shows you the time, how many timeouts they have, if you have the ball, what would be left, if you take a knee, et cetera, et cetera. Our chart said what ended up happening is if we ran it on first down, they called timeout. Second down, we threw the ball and scored a touchdown. If we'd have ran it again, they would have called their last timeout. Then we would have put it in the middle, ran it again, and got it set in the middle, and that would have used up about 35 seconds. We would have let it go down to 1, and we would have called our timeout. And how it was set up, because, looking at the chart and doing your math, they would have had about 45 seconds left to kick a field goal to beat us. Instead of we could have ripped off 35 more seconds on that clock if somehow he didn't go out of bounds. But I get it. I mean, it's 3rd and 7. We're on the 29. We got to get a first down. He breaks it. He's running, and he just ran out of bounds.
Thinking that we don't carry him out.
Thinking we need to preserve time, and we didn't need to preserve time. The funny thing is, as much as I hated watching football Saturday night, as miserable as I was, there were 2 games on the same scenarios that came up. Exact same scenarios. Minnesota was playing USC. They actually went for it on 4th and inches to score and go up by more than a field goal. And they made it. If they didn't make it, they would have lost.
Wow.
So they kicked off, and Southern Cal got it down there. And luckily, they didn't need just a field goal. They needed a touchdown. They got it down to like the 20, and Minnesota intercepted them with like 10 seconds to go. The other game was the Arkansas-Tennessee game. Arkansas was driving. Tennessee was up 2. Arkansas could have, did what we're talking about, kicked the field goal, kicked off to them. They would have had 40 or 50 more seconds, but a field goal would have beat them. They went and scored the touchdown. okay, just like we did and just like Minnesota did. Now it's up to your defense to stop them. Tennessee drives right down the field. They're on the 25, but now they got to score a touchdown and kicking a field goal. And on the last play, the quarterback scrambles, and he doesn't even get the throw off. He, gets knocked out of bounds and the game ends. But they had a chance. If they would have kicked a field goal, they may have lost on a field goal. So, I mean, it's either way. But there wouldn't have been a decision if we slid and
rather
kept the clock running. We'd have kicked a field goal, and with 15 seconds, we'd have kicked off to them.
Well, let's see. I got some questions here from the fans. What happened on the tip ball, the touchdown? Did the receiver step out of bounds?
No. It wouldn't have mattered anyway because we touched the ball. So you can challenge it, but it's no good. Once you touch the ball, a guy can leave the field and come back. But he was never out of the end zone. They ran a play thinking we would be in a certain coverage. And it was kind of a one-man throwback route to the tight end, and we were sitting in his zone coverage, and we had two guys back there, and he threw the ball up, and our guy jumped up, and it went, you saw it, went off his hands and got deflected into their guy, and he caught it in the back of the end zone.
Look what I found.
Right. So, which would have been great there is if he would have knocked it down, that's great too, because we get the ball on the 5-yard line, and we're still winning. But if he intercepts it, it's even better because not only do we still got the lead, we get it on the
20-yard line.
And the guy threw it right to him. He just threw it because he was actually getting pressured. And they're running a play thinking that guy's going to sneak out and be wide open on the other side. It's kind of like not a gadget play, but it's a misdirection, hide the tight end play, hoping you're in man coverage. And when they sprint, the guy that has the tight end sees the sprint right in front of him. He takes his eyes off the tight end, and the tight end goes the other way. We ran it. Matter of fact, we ran it last year against Edinboro and scored a touchdown on it to our tight end. Same play, but it was actually farther out. We were on on the plus 25. It ended up being a 25-yard touchdown. So, we got to catch the ball. I don't know what else. There's nothing else to say.
That's what it boils down to. What happened exactly on the 72-yard pass play to Wilson, because it was like a 10 or 12-yard catch, and then he was gone.
We were trying to get the blitz checked to where the linebacker was coming, and Darius would have been man-to-man on number 4. He'd covered him a lot during the game because he's their number 2 receiver, and Darius covers the number 2 receiver. The blitz we had on, Darius normally blitzes, but he was so wide that we check it, and the linebacker comes instead of him. And we didn't get it communicated, so Darius came, and they picked it up, and then they had a little mismatch with our strong safety from depth trying to cover him with a lot of space, and the guy just got on top of him and put the Jets on, and he was out of there.
Yeah, he was gone pretty quick.
We had two options to get out of the blitz or check it so that the backer came and Darius would play man on the guy. And we just stayed with what we had called and then go to the 2 checks, one or the other.
Were you surprised that you couldn't get as much pressure on Long?
No, because they threw the ball pretty quick. That's a 72-yard touchdown, but it was like an 8-yard pass.
Yeah, very short.
They only had one other pass over 20 yards. They weren't throwing the ball down the field a whole lot. They were getting the ball out quick and using play action because they were they were just, chipping away at us in the running game. We could never get the running game. In that little period there, that 6-series period, we finally stopped we didn't totally stop the run game, but we contained it enough that we could get in good third down. We were really good on third down defense. We just weren't good on fourth down defense. But if you're not stopping the run, you don't even get to a third down. They were gaining 6 yards when they probably should have had 3 or 4. Their backs were doing a good job. They did a good job blocking. We just couldn't get 6-yard runs to be 3-yard runs. Our best defense against the run was actually in the red zone when we almost had the interception. We stopped the run on 1st and 10, and then they went and threw it on 2nd and 3rd down. And I think they gained 3 yards on the one and incomplete on the 3rd down pass, so they went for it on 4th down, obviously, and you saw what happened.
One of the fans wanted to know, and I guess I did too, about Adam Hauser. I know he practiced during the week, but he's been slowed all year. He wasn't ready?
No, I mean, he went in warm-ups, and, he's smart enough to know, like, I can't help our team if I'm in there. More than, like, I'll get re-injured, like, he would go do that. That's the type of guy he is.
It's a lower body injury.
And he don't want to, like, he's not afraid he's going to re-injure it. He's afraid he's not going to be able to help the team because he's not anywhere near 100%. So that's just the way it was. We had Monaco, and we got Younger, and, we ran the quarterback a lot.
Yes.
Just quarterback runs, he had over 70 yards just on called quarterback runs. And he had, like, 40 yards on scrambles.
Well, Karst is he can beat you in a couple of different ways. When you take a look at his final stats, people that 113 yards rushing, 181 passing. He accounted for 4 touchdowns and almost 300 yards.
Right.
That's a busy guy, but that's the type of player he is, so that puts pressure on the other team.
Right.
They have to be aware of him at all times.
Yeah, and people don't understand, like, there'll be, no quarterback's perfect, but he has a lot more chances to not be perfect. Most quarterbacks, all they do is throw the ball. He runs and throws the ball. So he's part of the run game, too. So if he's throwing 25 passes and we have 10 quarterback runs called, he's involved in 35 plays. Okay, whereas a regular quarterback's really just involved, like, they're handing the ball off. Like, Slipperock's guy not keeping, like, he ran it once, I think, on that little trick option play. It was a good play. It was a good scheme. They did a good job. They schemed it up. Their first touchdown was good. They had never shown that. They got on the perimeter, and they got us matched up where, they had blockers for our guys. I mean, it was a really good play. But other than that, he didn't run the ball the whole game. He just managed the game, did a great job throwing, other than the one tip pass that we intercepted. I mean, Noah makes an unbelievable diving interception in the 3rd quarter. That was a lot harder play than the one he had in the end zone in the 4th quarter. But that's football.
Yeah.
Like, it happens all the time. It happens on Sundays in the NFL. Karst is involved heavily in the offense, and it's not just from a passing standpoint.
Yeah. You had mentioned about the quick release of Braden Long. Could you relate that a little bit to Bagent? Although Bagent was they were both the Harlan Hill. He won the Harlan Hill. Long was nominated last year. That's part of the lack of getting pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he gets the ball out quick. He knows where he wants to go with it. Actually helped us on a couple. They had us, and he actually, like, they're layups for him usually, and he didn't make the throws, but he made enough, obviously. But it's like the state championship game against Bagent. He missed 3 or 4 throws in that game that he normally wouldn't miss. I mean, they could have had 10 or 14 more points if he didn't miss them.
Yeah.
So those great quarterbacks are great for a reason, but they miss a couple throws here and there sometimes too. Not a lot. So, Long made a couple really big throws on downs where they had to make first downs.
Let's run a couple of, we're talking about positives too, as we talked about Karst. The catches by Massey and Ridley were just unbelievable. John's going to run them here for you. But Massey, who has scored a touchdown in every game for you, and he's really been special.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he's got all the tools: big, long, fast, great hands, can jump, long arms. Like, those guys are hard to cover one-on-one.
Yeah, he's got 5 catches for 97 yards in that touchdown, which really was spectacular. And then on the other end, you got Hilton.
Yeah, he finally got him back, which makes a difference.
It does make a difference.
Oh,
He's been out
now
for
you got another guy that's quote-unquote A receiver. So you can't just worry about Maurice. The other thing you got to remember about Maurice, he drew 4 PI calls, so that's 60 yards too.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Well, that's
part of
it.
Part of the puzzle.
Right. So, like that play there, Ridley makes a great catch.
Oh, that was a fabulous catch. Yeah.
And they're big bodies, like big man on little man. Big man usually wins every time.
Again, I can see where you guys were deliberating about Hail Mary, but you got to make a quick decision.
Yeah, well,
what
I
you're
mean,
gonna do,
if you'd done the Hail Mary and it wouldn't have worked, you said, well, why didn't you take a shot? Maybe you could have made it.
Yeah, exactly.
But we shouldn't have been in that position. You got to stop them on defense on the last drive.
Yeah. All right, we've got a special guest coming up. Going to sit right over there. Number 29 has joined us here in just a couple of minutes. It's Hawk Talk, and we're back from the Elks Lodge. We're located here on South 13th Street in Indiana. Hawk Talk on U92.5 and U92Radio.com. Renda Digital TV. Be back.
Looking for food, fun, and entertainment with a purpose? The Elks Lodge 931 in Indiana is more than a place. It's community. Become an Elk. Enjoy food, fun, bowling, music events, and a banquet hall. Distinctly American, Elks are rooted in brotherly love, charity, fidelity, and justice. Annually giving tens of thousands to local charities, we give back not at the Elks, as an Elk. See them at 475 South 13th Street and on Facebook today. Elks Lodge 931, where community and compassion meet.
Located along the beautiful Allegheny River in downtown Katanning, the Meredith Inn provides an atmosphere of casual, upscale dining. If you're looking for the perfect venue for your next event, look no further than the Meredith Inn. Family gatherings, wedding rehearsal, business meeting, or just a night out. It's perfect for all occasions, and their menu has something for everyone, leaving all full and satisfied. For more information, visit them at themeredithinn.com or call 724-793-7364.
We're back with you at the Elks Lodge in Indiana. Hawk Talk. Jack Benedict here with Coach Paul Tortorella and Kayin Frasier joining us here. As Super D back that IUP has had for the last couple of years. We're going to have him for a little bit more. Welcome aboard.
Glad to be here. Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, good to have you come over and talk with us here. See, you got fans already. First of all, give us a little background. I was surprised that Coach brought you over, but that's okay. I'm good with anybody. Give us a little background of how you got to IUP, your high school career, and so on. You're from New Jersey, right?
I'm from Delaware, but I played in Kennett Square.
Oh,
for
yeah.
my dad, actually. We just knew about IUP and the program for a couple years now before I even got here. Actually, my uncle played for West Florida, so I came to that game in 2017 before I even knew. It was crazy. Good game. But we just liked the defense. Coach Tort, we know about Coach Tort, Coach Smitty. It just felt like a real family environment as well. So I just felt like I fit into this defense and the scheme and everything. So that's really how I ended up here.
Were you aware of him at that game, being at that?
No, I didn't know he was at the game. No, I didn't know he was at the game.
Yeah.
Wish we'd have played a little better. We had a shot, but no, I did not know he was there.
Yeah, that's really interesting. The atmosphere of the game the other day. Tell us what it was like for you. And I know it's a tough loss, but for the regular football fan, just to watch a game, there was a lot there. But your feeling as a participant.
Yeah, we always want to come out with the win. Today we went over all the corrections and everything, so we're just trying to get better. But the fans came out. Wish we could have gave them a better result, but we just got to keep going with our head down, and we'll be okay.
How about with the guys you've been playing with here in the secondary? You've got a lot of people back there. It seems like, it's a collective group that's been here for a while.
Yeah, it's fun. A lot of chemistry with the guys. With Noah Johnson, he's playing really good football right now on my side in the boundary. And, I got Jaheim Howard, Darius Bruce, and young Ian. He's coming along. But it's all family love off the field, so I feel like it's easy for us to bond and have good chemistry on the field, really.
Yeah, you took a pretty good hit on a tackle that you made.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. It hurt during the game, but I'll be all right. Everything's fine.
Yeah, I could tell. It was like, you didn't want to come out, and I don't know if you guys wanted him to come out, but he said, "No, I got to stay in here and see what I can do." He's
I
he's a
didn't want him coming
competitor.
out. I mean, as long as he was healthy enough to play, no, he wasn't coming out. We didn't want him coming out.
How'd you find out about Kayin?
Well, you know, that part of the state, that eastern PA part of the state, we recruit pretty heavily. Actually, his film was great, but he really showed us he was like their quarterback, and he'd run, throw, run wild. I mean, like, he was amazing with the ball, and he played defense, but like 75% of his video huddle was him playing quarterback and like running all over the place and throwing and, you know, causing some, like, he just showed great athleticism. So when we watched the film, I'm like, this guy's a corner. Like, he's playing corner in high school and all that, and his dad's the head coach, and his dad played at West Virginia and in the NFL. So that, like, you know, usually that's pretty good genes.
Yeah,
and
it's good background.
Love his family, his mom, his dad. They're great people. And it was just like a no-brainer for us. And, like, we think he's the best corner in the region. I mean, he got 5 targets on Saturday against Slippery Rock. They were 0 for. They didn't complete a ball against them. Sometimes he don't get a lot of targets. They're not.
They're going to play away from
Yeah,
him.
they're going to throw away from him. So, and he's had a great year so far. He's a lot more physical than people think he is. The one play that he got kind of dinged, he put a hit on the guy, and he would have, if the quarterback would have just waited one more second, he was going to step in front because the quarterback never seen him and intercept that, and then that would have ended it. But the quarterback just got it off, and he couldn't get in front to pick it off, so he made the collision on the receiver.
So when you came here, when you made a commitment to IUP, and you're a two-way guy, did it matter where you played?
I always wanted to play wide out, but I like corner too. I love corner, so it was all good. I know I got long arms, I think, and good quickness, so I think it would be good. And I like our playbook on defense, so I fit in, so it's all good.
You think they might call upon you sometime to go in there on offense? Huh?
I told Coach Wilson I'm ready, so whenever y'all need me.
Well, his true freshman year, we were in preseason camp, and he was getting ready to work his way into starting as a true freshman. And one of the wideouts got hurt in preseason camp, something new.
Yeah.
And Coach Wilson's like, we'll take Frasier. I said, no, you ain't taking Frasier at wideout. He was just to the point where in a week he was going to win the job.
Yeah, exactly.
I go, he's going to be the starting corner. He's not. We're not putting him on offense.
So when you come out of a game like this, where we're disappointed and we're frustrated, but we know we came back, it's 21-0, could have been 50-0, but it wasn't. You came back and made an effort. Collectively, you guys get together, you get with the coaches, but you get together also the same and say, hey, listen, we got a half a season to go.
Yeah, we talked on the phone during the weekend, and it's talking like if we came out like how we did in the third quarter, it would have been all good. And we're just harping on that. We got to come out faster. We got to finish better. So if we just bring everything together, I think we have something really good. Yeah.
Well, you're going to get a test this week too. I'm sure that the coaches are telling you. Yeah. Edinboro's won one game, but they beat Robert Morris, but. They almost beat. I mean, they gave Slippery Rock all they could handle. So that mentally, you should be. And I know you guys like to play on the road too, right?
Yeah, we like to play on the road. That's a tough team over there. We just got to focus on what we do, though. Fix our mistakes and corrections, and we'll be all right. It's a good team over there, though.
I was going to ask you, what are you majoring in?
I'm a business major in human resources. Yes, sir.
Now you have another year after this year, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You're smiling because he's going to be around for a while, which is good for all of us. The game coming up on Saturday with Edinboro, is there anybody in particular? I looked. I know they have one wideout is very good, like your assignment. I know it's early in the week, but how are you approaching that?
So I I haven't got too much into their film yet. I was looking at the Slippery Rock film still. But I know they're a tough team, and I'm just trying to focus on what I need to get better at. And I like just running the ball, my pursuit. I always need something I can fix. Like I always want to work on something, and I think that would be it. Just running to the ball, and then when I start to study the guys more and their schemes and routes and stuff, I'll understand. But yeah.
Explain this to me, and maybe as the fans here too. So I'm calling the game from the press box, and I see you're on this side, and then a little bit later I see you're playing on that side. You know, one side or the other. You're flip flopping. Yeah, that's not something that all players can do, is it? I mean, you have to show your versatility.
Are you talking about like on the side of the field?
Yeah. So what side of the field you're playing? Yeah.
Yes, sir. You know, in high school, I always played all around the field. Like I was traveling with the other team's best receiver, so it really didn't matter what side of the field I'm on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, stay healthy. That's the key, and get these guys together. And I know we're going to have some fans at Edinboro. It's unbelievable right now that the weather coach is supposed to be good. I know it's early in the week,
Right? Yeah.
You know, you've gone through some times up there with weather situations, and. We'll see how she goes.
Yeah.
Going against one of your former assistants, too, Jake Nelf.
Yep.
Yeah, and he's done a heck of a job up there.
They're very well coached. Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me.
Okay. Watch for this guy, number 29, all right? Next time you watch IUP football. We're going to be back. We've got another segment to go. It's Hawk Talk with the coach, and we'll talk about Edinboro and a whole lot more. And Renda Digital TV and U92Radio.com.
Located along the beautiful Allegheny River in downtown Katanning, the Meredith Inn provides an atmosphere of casual upscale dining. If you're looking for the perfect venue for your next event, look no further than the Meredith Inn. Family gatherings, wedding rehearsal, business meeting, or just a night out. It's perfect for all occasions, and their menu has something for everyone, leaving all full and satisfied. For more information, visit them at themeredithinn.com or call 724-793-7364.
Since 1936, Walker Motor Company in downtown Katanning has served Western Pennsylvania with its no-pressure, no-hassle environment, bringing the kind of family-owned and oriented dealer experience that everyone wants when it comes time to purchase a new or used vehicle. Whether you are looking for a new GMC, pre-owned vehicle, service, or collision repair, come on over to Walker Motors and see why they've been voted #1 for 6 straight years. Visit them at walker-motor.com.
We're back for the, I guess we'll say the fourth quarter here of Hawk Talk from the Elks Lodge. Once again, everybody's invited to come over any Monday night between 6 and 7 o'clock. You can stop at the Elks anytime you want, as a matter of fact. And you don't have to be a member to come over and watch our show, but, go from there and have dinner here and just enjoy yourself. Coach, let's look at some positives of some players, your players, who performed well and got good numbers after the Slippery Rock game.
Yeah. Well, Frasier, like I said, he had 6 tackles also and got targeted 5 times and they didn't complete a ball against them. We were, Noah Johnston actually, other than the one mistake, played a great game. He had 14 tackles, had a great interception. Darius Bruce again played another really good game on the perimeter, covering their speed guy most of the game. Made a couple great open field tackles. So defensively, I would say those were the guys that showed up, defensively. And then offensively, obviously Karst, Massey, Monica had a good day. Okay. So, I mean, we had our chance. We just didn't finish.
Yeah. I'm sure you'd like to get the running game going a little, get going, but like Hauser, we said, he's not 100%. Monaco seems like he's just starting to come around.
Yeah,
now.
He had a good game, had some good runs. When you're running the quarterback, obviously the running back doesn't get as many runs. Some games running back will have all the runs. Some games it'll be 50-50. Against Slippery Rock, it was 50-50. And I think Monaco had like 14 carries for 70 yards, which is a pretty good average. Had a couple really nice runs, did a pretty good job. Tell you one thing, he did a great job in protection, especially on the one scramble that Karst had near the end of the game. So there's more, obviously, as you know, there's more to running back than just running the ball. There's catching the ball out of the backfield. There's in protection. They had a good pass rush. Todd Hill, the one end's a really good pass rusher, and they were bringing a lot of pressure.
Yes.
They were blitzing a good bit. At the end of the day, we scored 32 points, and we had to go for 2 just because we were under that 1-point threshold because we kicked 2 field goals to their 1 touchdown. And really the 2 2-point plays that we didn't convert, we had them both, and we just didn't convert them. That would have made things a lot better. And at the end, when they score, it's really going to be an overtime game. If we'd have made the first 2-point play, we wouldn't have ran the 2-point play the second time. Mm-hmm. If we'd have we ran it the second time, and Karst just hesitated. If he would have just took off for the pylon, he probably would have got in running.
Yeah, he got jammed up over
Well,
there.
he hesitated, and pursuit finally got him. If he'd have just went right for the pylon, he had a lead blocker. It's a run-pass option. If he gets in that, and I knew those 2-point plays, they're crucial. You see us work them in practice all the time. It's 2 points for 1 play. That's almost a field goal. And I knew the first one we had it, and we didn't make the right read. We got 2 guys wide open on the backside. And then his run, which we wouldn't have even run that if we'd have made the first 2-point play. We would have kicked the extra point. It would have been a 7-point difference. And then if they score at the end, they got to make a decision. Are they going to go for the win and go for 2, or are they going to kick the extra point and we're going to go into overtime? Those 2-point plays are crucial. Now, they didn't make their 2 either.
No, they didn't.
And to be honest, they had the 1 definitely wide open, and he just didn't make a good throw, which was unlike him.
He overthrew it, didn't he?
Yeah. The guy's wide open in the flat. So the same thing happened to them. They didn't make their first 2-point play, so then they tried it a second time, and we stopped. Well, we really didn't stop the 1. They just misfired.
Yeah. At this point of the season, as you get to the midpoint and now start the second half of the year, do you implement, as the coaching staff, some new things along the way, or do you go game by game? Obviously, Edinboro's up next. Okay, we might utilize or institute something here against them that we wouldn't later in the year.
It's a give and take on who you're playing, and but you can't lose sight of the fact that if you're doing certain things well, no matter who you're playing, keep doing them.
Stay with it.
If there's some wrinkles and some tweaks that you can make that can make you better on either side of the ball or in the kicking game, you look at that. But we got 5 games under our belt. We've got 3 weeks of preseason camp under our belt. So we've been running certain schemes, offense, defense, and kicking game for 8 weeks now. And the ones that are working, you don't want to go away from those things.
Yeah.
But there's also, like I said, from week to week, some different wrinkles that you put in all 3 phases, but not a lot. I think if you're not playing well and you're not winning, like there's been times in the past if we're playing teams that are struggling, they'll have a whole new offense when we're playing them all of a sudden. Same thing with defense.
You bring that up, and it brings up this horrible thought of the Edinboro game back here some years ago, where they had a guy that wasn't even a quarterback that became the quarterback, right?
Yeah, so sometimes a team will just take a shot and totally change for that week. Either a different front or, a different defensive structure or, running a lot of things out of a formation that they haven't even used all year. That happens too. But I always err on the side of don't try to change too much if you're successful. Worry about you and not who you're playing.
Yeah. With Edinboro, as I mentioned, they've only won 1 game. They're 1-4, but they did beat Robert Morris on a safety. They, as we said, gave Slippery Rock all they could handle. What is the main thing you need to prepare for against Edinboro? Is it more mentally than physically?
No, I think it's both, just like it normally is. They're very good at complementary football. You know, Jake does a great job doing what they need to do to win the game. Like he's not into style points. Like if they got to run the ball and milk the clock and shorten the game to win it, they'll do that. If he feels like they can't stop who he's playing, then they'll try to outscore you. They're always great in the kicking game. He knows the kicking game inside and out. So at the end of the day, you got to beat them. Like they don't blow things and blow coverages and turn the ball over and get a lot. They're not highly penalized. So you're going to have to earn it when you play them. They're really solid on defense. They play hard. They're physical. They're aggressive. They don't try to do too much. Offensively, they give you some problems with motion and what we call eye candy and different formations and things of that way to soften it. They do a good job with that to soften up your defense. And then their kicking game gives you fits all their phases of their kicking game.
Well, Reed Martin is a great punter.
Yeah, and he's a great punter. Really good punter. He's the best punter in the league. But they do a great job coaching their coverage team. I mean, they're always looking for an advantage in the kicking game. It's the right reason why I didn't want him to leave. But he left to be a head coach because he coached our secondary and he was heavily involved in our special teams. So, his major, so to speak, in football is defense and special teams.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, and I know because I see on offense them doing things offensively that I'm sure he's got his hands on because he knows that causes problems for defense. It's kind of like, if I get involved with the offense, it's not like because I'm trying to be an offensive guru. I'm just saying, like, that right there is going to give the defenses problems. Like, so, set it up how you want, but I'm just saying you run that route against this coverage that they keep playing, they're going to have problems covering it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's doing the same thing there.
Jake Nulf is the coach there at Apollo Ridge, was with these guys on IUP for a year. It's interesting, too, that he took over when he had nobody to play because it was the COVID year, right? How different?
No, he was. Yeah, right. That's
he
yeah,
took
that's
over
exactly
in 2020,
right.
didn't he?
Yeah. And no, he was here in 19. He coached us in 19. He was with us in 19.
Yes, and then he
went. And then the following year was COVID, and he went to Edinboro. So he took over at Edinboro, and they didn't have a season, and we didn't either, obviously. But he was there as the head coach, and actually, he said it was actually kind of good that they didn't have a season. Because, it got them a chance to have a whole year to try to get adjusted and everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They and of course they'll have homecoming, which is I think we run into everybody's homecoming for one reason or another. The Edinboro tradition had waned for quite a while, but now Jake seems to be revitalizing.
Right.
them.
Well, they went through a run there of a couple different head coaches.
Yes.
And that non-stability can affect the program. He's gone in there, and like I said, the first year was COVID. They didn't play. So he got a year to just kind of get his program going. He's done a really good job. I mean, they're recruiting better players. They're very sound in their schemes and their fundamentals. You're not going to trick them. You're not going to out-coach them. You better be on top of your game too. And the thing about his team that they play smart. Like they're coaching them up, but he's got guys that are listening, so to speak, because they don't make a lot of mistakes.
Well, he's of that young age where players relate to him well. At this point, the conference itself is pretty interesting from the standpoint. It looks like there's a lot of parity. Of course, Kutztown, Slippery Rock, IUP are the nationally ranked teams. But how about Clarion almost beat California? The quarterback from Lock Haven, Ostrowski, his numbers were like Rich Engel. 470 yards he throws for.
Those two games, you heard about and looked at, and Clarion was beating Cal by 10 with 4 minutes to go. Cal came back and scored 2 touchdowns in the end to beat them. Shepherd was beating Lockhaven like 38-3, and they ended up winning 45-38, and Lockhaven's quarterback threw for 480 yards. So
Unbelievable.
those 2 games were probably, a lot like our game, like a lot of high leverage situations, and, the Cal Clarion game wasn't that high scoring, but obviously ours ended up being high scoring, and the Lockhaven, they were down big, Lockhaven, but they did get it to the point where they had a chance with an onside kick to get the ball back with a minute to go to have a chance to send it into overtime, and they just didn't get it, from what I understand. So, right now, anybody can really beat anybody on both sides. You have probably in the East, Kutztown has really handled all challengers up to this point.
Right, yeah.
So we'll see how that pans out over there, and we still got a ton of football left to play, obviously, in our conference.
Yeah. I was going to have you comment about the first game that Edinboro played was they lost by like 12 points or 14 to East Stroudsburg.
Right.
I didn't read much about that, but I don't know where it was played at East Stroudsburg.
It was at Edinboro.
Oh,
it was
at
played
Edinboro?
that week 0.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why Edinboro didn't have. They were off this. They've got a little bit of advantage coming in our game. We obviously had a tough, high intensity, using a lot of energy game.
So this must have been their Mercyhurst week.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's interesting how all that has developed. But
that's how it works. So they were off this past week.
Injury situation, what's that like?
Well, we got through the game Saturday with really everybody getting through it. Right now, Hauser's the only guy that probably won't play, but we'll see. He warmed up and it wasn't happening, so we'll see how it goes this week. But we're finally getting, like, Randy Kungu played, but he's still not 100%.
I was going to ask you about him. I know I saw he was kind of limping around.
Yeah, he's not 100%. But, we're a lot healthier now than we were before. I know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's a 2 o'clock game at Edinboro on Saturday. We'll be on the air at 1:30 with the pregame show, and we'll be back here, of course, next Monday. Again, we have a nice crowd here, so tell your friends and come on by and listen in on IUP football and Hawk Talk. Coach, thanks a lot. We'll get ready for second half of the year.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
You got it. All right. Thanks to Kayin Frasier, too. That's Hawk Talk from the Indiana Elks on U92Radio.com and Renda Digital TV. Have a Major League night.
The following has been a special sports presentation of Renda Media. You've been listening to another edition of Hawk Talk on the new U92 and Renda Digital TV.